All the media right now talking about the weather, right? That big, massive weather event that's about to move across the nation's heartland and then eventually up into the Northeast, and 180 million people are right now scrambling for what's going to happen over the next couple of days. So, grocery store visits for 180 million people should be happening probably now. So when you think about that, the question is, what are you getting at the grocery store versus what you actually need? Because we know with this much cold air coming to this many people, a lot of people are trying to figure out, what should I get in the grocery store? Now, you ain't got to go in there acting like some kind of doomsday prepper. First things first, it doesn't matter what the event is, we'll need water, right? Gotta have water. And don't think about it just in terms of I need drinking water, because you do, and then you got to do some math on that, right? How much do we need per day per person? The other thing you got to look at is, I got to brush my teeth, got to wash my hands. Probably don't want to drink out of the same one we're washing. You know, I mean, we got a plan, separated jugs and whatnot. So you got to think that through. Another thing that you're going to need is bottled water, obviously to drink, some to travel with, that kind of thing, because you can't just now, if the power's out for several days, we can't just zip into the Quick Trip and pick ourselves up an ice cold energy drink or whatever it is. Because power is going to be hard to get, but we still have to get through brushing our teeth and all that stuff, right? Now, what about coffee, tea, hot cocoa, and all of those things? Well, hell yeah. If it's the end of the world, I'm going out caffeinated. Let's not get foolish. This is not a jungle. We're not savage or animals. Get all the cocaine. Don't get all the coke. I mean, if that's you, that's you. I meant to say caffeine. I said cocaine. Whatever. All right. Now, think about this. With this much coming, all this snow, potentially all this ice, and that's going to depend on where you are. The dividing line now, as it really comes together, will get, looks like around 4 to 8 p.m. or so out in Oklahoma and out to the west, and it'll begin to push in and really get heavy into the night around Tulsa and those areas. It'll continue to move on and track off to the north and east. Now, if you're south of Tulsa, kind of tracking with the storm as it moves, you're in for what could be a considerable amount of ice, some type of sleet, a wintry mix versus an all-out snow. If you're in St. Louis, the likelihood is you're going to get a lot of snow. It's not like the city's not prepared for snow. They'll do fine. However, in the areas where we have a lot of ice, that's going to create power outages, right? So we got to prepare for that. Now, if we're stuck in our house for a minute and we don't have Netflix, we really don't have our phones unless we've done the smart thing right now and today, which is charge up our bricks and all the things that we can use to charge our cell phones. We don't know about the service or anything else yet. We're not going to have our computers. So all of our TV stuff is pretty much gone. Now we have to do weird stuff like talk. I mean, nobody wants that. Now we got to have conversation with the people that we love and around us. And you're going to look up potentially and realize that one of those little ones in the house looks like you, and that's your kid probably. So maybe this is a good time to talk to them. I mean, maybe spend some time discussing things. But the best way to do that is to have snacks. Let's not kid ourselves. That's what we're getting at the grocery store. And don't go in there. I need you to go in with the same energy that a 10-year-old gets snacks for the road trip. That's the energy I need. Get granola bars, peanut butter, crackers, Vienna sausages, anything that you can open with a key. We're going to need Cheez-Its. Probably going to need some peanut butter. I said that right. Jerky. Everybody needs jerky. You're going to need cookies, probably some Twix bars. You need right and left hand because I don't want to get short on my Twix bars. Hey, think about this. This could be days. Think about the dollar store. For $1.25, you can load up just on the movie size boxes of Milk Duds. That's money well spent. You can also get Mike and Ike's and all kind of flavors. You should not go out without candy. Things are important. Do you have fuel in your car? Well, I tell you what, a good time to go get that fuel is when you're on the Mike and Ike run and the Milk Dud journey. That's a great time to get fuel. I'm a meteorologist. You can trust me. This stuff is factual. I'm not just sitting here making it up. Does the gas grill have fuel? If it does not, let's get that taken care of, because let's be honest, if we can't cook in the house, one of those kids that looks like you hopefully has been trained on the grill so they can learn to cook outside in the cold, because it's not for me and you, it's for our offspring. Everyone knows this. Now, what about beer? Do you like beer? If it's your thing, probably should go ahead and stock up before we get into this. Don't worry about keeping it cold. You're like, but what if the freezer goes out and the refrigerator, where are we going to put the beer? Put it in the garage. Put it outside. Somewhere. We ain't worried about keeping it cold. Beer is not our problem. In fact, if you need liquor, get that too. I was in the Bilo in South Carolina, my hometown, right before Hurricane Hugo hit, which is the same type of deal in that we knew we could potentially be without power for a long time. I went straight to the beer aisle. It is empty. Listen, it may be too late for beer. Get what you can. So I remember as I went to the checkout, I had two bottles. I had two O English 800s, them big 40 ounce. But I could tell they'd been back there for like a really long time. You could smell the skunkiness in them, but beggars can't be choosers. So I got in the line, and there was a fella in front of me and a nice lady, and the fella was just standing there. He wasn't bothering nobody. He was holding, like 38 gallons of milk like the rest of everybody else. And his lady walks up, and she said, "Hey, I got this, and I brought this," and she got a buggy full of food. He looked at her and he said, "Damn the food woman, get the liquor." He knew. He wasn't stupid. You got to stock up. That's going out early. It's an end of the world party. What if it is or not? We're going to be ready. Whatever your vice is, you probably need to figure that out. Is it those lip pillows? Is it tobacco products? Is it weed? Whatever it is, you're going to be stuck for days. So figure that out. You may also need cash. You may need hardcore money, like what happens if credit cards are never accepted again? What happens if we wind up living this post-apocalyptic society? It becomes like The Walking Dead, and cash, at least for the first part of it, is the only chance you've got to find safety and shelter for you and your family. You see what I mean? Things can go wrong fast when you've got good writers. We're eating not to survive. We are eating to pass the time to keep us from talking with our loved ones. That's why we hit the grocery store today with reckless abandon. We do not slow down either. Some people like to stress eat. Some people like to stress clean. Just be whatever. If you're a stress cleaner, great. Get a lot of spick and span. Fabuloso. Whatever it is. I want you to have everything you need for the voodoo that you do. Now, some of the things you can think of here, canned soup. See, those are good. You can pick that stuff up. It's already been in the store for at least 60 to 90 years probably. So now you just pick it up, put it at your house. Then if you need it, you can get into it. Now remember, some of them have the tops, little ring cans, but if not, you need to have some way to get into that, because you don't want your whole life hanging in the balance on a metal soup can. You don't want that kind of stress. So make sure we have something. I don't care if it's a hammer and nails or if it is Chinese throwing stars, whatever it is, make sure we can get into that can. Peanut butter, like I said earlier, bread. Now, I know bread's probably already gone through 2/3 of the country. I saw this today and didn't even think about it. Tortillas. You can use tortillas just like you use bread, right? See? And tortillas are comfort decisions. They make you happy in times of trouble. That's good. And like I said, don't forget about some sort of can opener, because you don't want to lose that. You don't want to go through that, especially not in front of somebody that you love. What about flashlights, batteries? Okay, something to think about. Medicine. Don't forget your medicines if you need something and you're running short. What about pet food? Do you need something for your dog, or do you expect them to eat you at 6 o'clock tomorrow? And if you don't have a can opener, that's not electric? What if you can't get into their food? The dog at 6 o'clock's hungry, doesn't care about the current weather situation. Now, when you go through this store, like I said, you should buy anything and everything. We don't know how long this will be. I mean, if you're in Tulsa, it might be, you might not have power. If you're south where you had a lot of ice, it might go 3-4 days, maybe a week. I need to be prepared for at least a month. That's the way I look at it. A month, maybe 2. So if you're thinking 1 bag of chips, buy 8. If you're thinking I might need a box of those 4 sleeve of crackers, buy 3. Make sure we're prepared. You think one little thing of peanut butter is going to do it? Nay, you need a big one. I've seen Walking Dead. Peanut butter has value when the world ends. And I don't want that to stand between you and whatever it is you're looking to get. Maybe you need safe passage to New York or something. I don't know what your particular need at that moment's going to be. Now, you need to buy with, use somebody else's credit card, whatever it takes. Buy all you can. See, this is where, in my meteorological training, I can help you. You do not need 6 gallons of milk. You're not opening up a Quick Trip. You're not trying to give a small army of kittens something to drink. We don't need that much milk. Take your gallon and go home. You do not need 24 eggs, ma'am. You're not opening a breakfast taco shack. You don't need that many eggs. It's not a Blizzard omelet bar. Get just what you need. Come on now, you're messing it up for everybody. Oh, ma'am, you don't need a frozen pizza and a frozen family lasagna. That's not survival. That's like choices. You wanted options. See, we're at the end of the world. We're not at the beginning of options. Tell the other lady if you see them in there, you don't need those scented candles. We're trying to survive, not create vibes. You see the difference, ma'am? What about a throw blanket, a new one? Nobody needs a new throw blanket. That's a lifestyle choice. We need things that keep us warm here. Girl, get a comforter. Get something not a throw blanket. We don't need that. As far as wine goes, you do not need wine. But since you're going to buy it anyway, you might as well get 2 or 3 bottles because there's no telling how long we're going to be stuck here. And it's not really the wine. You're drinking it because of the people you live with. You and I both know that, and that's okay. You've got to prepare for what's about to happen here. I say that jokingly, but it's really not a joke. When I lived in Michigan twice, and both times, wait for this, why it snowed. And it snowed a lot. I was in Saginaw one night, and I had to get over to Mount Pleasant, Michigan the next morning because I was doing some work over there at the casino, and then I had to come back over to Saginaw, no problem. So I had to leave at like 4 a.m., I'm driving down the road. Everything is fine. I'm fine in my Toyota Celica. If you don't know much about the Toyota product line, the Celica didn't sit too far off of the ground. It was not really a fast car or a sports car, but it was shaped like that, and it was rather inexpensive. So what was cool, but they lasted forever. Now, the problem was they're not good. They're not designed for snow. That's not really their jelly roll. Toyotas don't like first gear. If you have to shift the gears, they don't want to do first gear in cold weather for some reason and forget locking the doors. Toyotas just stay unlocked when it gets below 0. That I found. I'm driving along and I have no snow, and then I have drifts. And bam, you're into it because it's the middle of the night. You can see a little bit and then it's all white. So it was crazy how the snow just kind of moves itself around and does different things in that part of the country, because what people don't realize is a couple of streets over and it's all farmland. So that is interesting when you start talking about winds and where it carries snow. And while I was thinking about Grand Rapids, that got me thinking about dreams and how they die and where they go, and the fact that maybe they don't die. Maybe they just get arthritis. Who knows? But I know this. Every day for lunch, or at least every Friday, if you've ever been or spent time in Grand Rapids, especially in that early 2000s era, there was a restaurant there called Louis Benton's. It might have been Louis B's is what we called it, Louis Benton's, Louis Benton, whatever you called it. It was a very nice steakhouse, and it was right in downtown Grand Rapids. And I worked in downtown Grand Rapids. So it was really nice. And if you don't know anything about Grand Rapids, when it snows, it's not a big deal because the sidewalks in that area right in downtown are heated. So you can just meander on about your life and you don't really know much is going on unless the snow's falling at that particular moment. So me and my buddy Tim and sometimes Darren and whoever we had in the building at that time would walk across the street and we would eat at Lewis Benton's. And there was a lady there and her name was Tara. And she was probably 55. She looked like life had happened at 55 and maybe some economic downturns here and there, but she ran the lunch place by herself. She was a beautiful lady, and dang if I didn't just love going in there and spending time with Tara because she made me happy. She made everybody happy. She was a nice lady, not super jovial, but just fun to talk to and just a nice lady to run this restaurant/bar, because remember, the restaurant side is full of snooty people and the bar side is full of people that worked around that area. It wasn't just our radio station that was there. It was B93.7. They were in the same building. So there were a lot of us media types just hanging around and eating and doing the lunch thing there. So each day it was really cool because she would turn on the TV right above the bar, and there were multiples, because they had sports. So she would have a couple of them. She would have the one in the front set for me, and it was on Days of Our Lives, which was cool because I enjoyed soap operas. I like my stories. So I watched Days of Our Lives every day when we went in there to get lunch, and that was kind of fun, or at least every third day or so when we went in. It was always cool when she saw us coming. She was just one of those kind of people that makes life better. Now, it's a $40 a plate steakhouse. I'm not going to say it was cheap, but I was watching soap operas, so some things are worth paying for. Now, when you ordered from Tara, that was kind of the fun too, and everyone knew it. You didn't know what you were going to get. The wrong cut, chicken, somebody else's order. You just didn't know. And each time you ordered, you knew that you were kind of just saying words. And she shook her head a lot, but there was no telling what you were going to get. One day, my man Tim had ordered a burger and something else. Burger and fries. So when she showed back up at the table, she brought me a steak and him a salad. You just never knew what you were going to get. So one day, Tim and I were talking because we were on the radio together. We did some stuff along. Him and Darren were on the radio together, and there was a time when he and I were working together. So we were just kind of talking and exploring things so we could talk about them on the show the next day. So for whatever reason, we started talking to Tara about her life. And I asked probing questions. I was like, what else have you done? She had a laundry list of things, as you might expect. She was 55, so she had done a lot of things. Waitress, barring, a lot of things by that point. And for some unknown reason, I looked at her and said, did you ever think about being a dancer, for the money? She thought about it for a half second. She looked me dead in my face, and she said, I would have, but I couldn't on account of my knees. Her face didn't break. She had considered it, run all the numbers, had an option playlist, and chose not to take that on account of her bad knees. I expected a no, are you crazy, man? Or a laugh. Not logistics.